We have to realize that this threat is not diminishing. Nobody should be surprised by this attack. We've seen this type of attack in London, in Nice, France, and other places in Europe. This is really the first one of its kind in the United States. But this comes right out of the Al-Qaeda, the ISIS playbook. It's what they're told to do. If they can't get weapons or firearms or explosives, use a borne vehicle to do an attack, and that's exactly what this guy did. But nobody should be surprised. This isn't going to be the last one, and it's essential for the United States, Europe, and other countries that live in freedom to do everything in their power to build their intelligence capabilities to identify people like this before they actually can attack and do what this guy did.
As I said, this is the worst terror attack in New York since 9/11. What have you seen? Because you were, in charge policing then. What have you seen change in the years since, and what do you think should have changed?
Well, I think a lot of things have changed. Look, it's never going to be perfect. No matter how good we get on the intelligence front, there's always a possibility that people could slip through the cracks. But we've done 1,000 things different from September 10th of 2001. Our crisis management capabilities, our disaster response, the intelligence networks, the communications between London, for example. In fact, New York City, the New York City Police Department actually has local detectives, New York City cops in Europe, that funnels information back and forth between Europe and New York City, which we never had before. These are all things that happened in the aftermath of 9/11. Right. Are we going to be perfect? No. But the key to the success of fighting these kinds of attacks is going to be intelligence. And the better we get, the more ability we have to stop them.
Well, we had our London police chief in here about half an hour ago, and she was telling us that her force has successfully foiled a great number of plots before they could come to fruition. Have you had similar successes in New York? Are you arresting people and charging them with intending to commit crimes like this?
They've had an enormous amount of success in thwarting a number of attacks, not only in New York City, but around the rest of the country. Some we hear about, some we don't. London's had that same success, and other countries as well around the globe. The key is, to keep that battle going. There's three elements here. You've got to fight this fight abroad in the countries these people come from and annihilate them. You've got to build your intelligence capability, and the third focus has to be education of the young, that the young Muslims, that jihad is not the way of Allah.
One last...
and that's a big one.
One last question before we have to say goodbye to you. Your friend and colleague, President Trump, who you know very well, tweeted this yesterday. You'll know this. I have just ordered Homeland Security to step up our already extreme vetting programme. Being politically correct is fine, but not for this. Is that the way forward? More extreme vetting?
Absolutely. I mean, nobody should be letting people into your country, whether it's Europe, England, or the United States. Nobody should get into this country if we don't know where they're coming from, who they are, what their intent is. And we've been doing that for the last 10 years. Right. It's got to stop. And I think that's what the president's trying to do.